If you're wondering what happened in the last video, my noisy children came in to get food and interrupted me. So let me get back to it. It says, sketch a line showing Lynn's original plan on the axis. Here it is in blue. You see, she made her graph wrong to begin with. So just type it in here, the original line is drawn on the graph. Okay. Next question. What does the vertical intercept mean in this situation? Okay, well, wait a second. I want to make sure you're getting the vocabulary in this. We have the x-axis, which is horizontal, and we have the y-axis, which is vertical. So vertical intercept, that's what I've been calling the y-intercept. I want to make sure you don't get confused, and the vocabulary is no problem. The vertical intercept is the y-intercept, and that means where our graph crosses the y-axis. Let me just draw that on my little picture here, like that. Vertical intercept, or y-intercept. So what does that mean in this situation? It means how many pages that she has read before she started her plan. Back up to the top, it says, after reading the first 30 pages of the book, she plans to read 40 pages each day until she finishes. So she made this plan after she had already read the first 30 pages. So the y-intercept, whoopsie, let me get this here. The y-intercept is how many pages she had already read before she made her reading plan. In other words, it's her starting point. I'll put that down. In other words, it's her starting point. Yeah, in other situations, think of it as the starting point. And I forgot to put a space right there, so make sure you put a space between starting and point. Next question. How do the vertical intercepts of the two lines compare? Go back to the graph, look at these vertical intercepts, and how do they compare? Well, her original graph, which was wrong, started at 40. So she's saying that she already had read 40 pages at the beginning of her plan, but the problem said 30 pages, and that's why her reading plan didn't make sense after 4 days. She says she started at 40 pages by mistake, but really she started at 30 pages. Let me write that down. How do the vertical intercepts of the two lines compare? How do you spell her name again? Lynn? L-I-N? Okay, good. I got it. The original graph showed that Lynn had already read 40 pages. But that was not true. It was 30 pages. So the y-intercept was too high? Too great? The y-intercept was too high. You know what I mean. It was 10 units over the real value. I'll write that. It was 10 units over the real value. Okay, your turn. Type in your answer, or you can use my answer because I'm your teacher, so I can help you. Next question. What does the slope mean in this situation? Okay, look again. What does the slope mean in this situation? Well, the y-axis is the number of pages read, and the x-axis is number of days. Slope is change in y. My pen's not working suddenly. change in y divided by change in x. So the change in y is how many pages she read for each day. How many pages she read for each day. How many pages she read for each day. It goes up y pages per day. Does that make sense? Let me write that down. It goes up y number of pages for each day on the x-axis. Okay, let me type that in, and I'll help you. I'm your teacher, so go ahead and use my answer sometimes. Let me change my color, though. What does the slope mean in this situation? It shows, oh man, what's going on here? It shows the number of pages read per day. That's the slope of the line. It goes up 30 pages per day that it goes over. How do the slopes of the two lines compare? Oh, you know, I didn't look at the slope of Lynn's original incorrect line. Okay, my correct line, your correct line, the correct line here has a slope of 30, was it 30? 40 pages per day. So from one day here to 2 days, it goes up 40 pages per day. Okay, what about Lynn's incorrect line? And I've scribbled all over my graph, so let me put on the units, the coordinates here. When x equals 1, she has a point at 70 pages. That was the original point on Lynn's graph. And then this other point on Lynn's graph, which was incorrect, because she made a mistake, x equals 4, and the pages equals 160. So what is the slope of this incorrect line? Look at the change in y. The change in y goes from, 160 minus 70, because we went from 70 pages to 160 pages. So the difference in this, that is the vertical change, that's equal to 160 minus 70, and that is 90 pages. And then the change in x is from x equals 1 to x equals 4. So 4 minus 1 is the difference in x, and that's equal to 3. Okay, look at Lynn's line. 90 divided by 3 is 30. The slope is 30. That means she would only be reading 30 pages a day. But remember, her plan was to read 40 pages a day. I think she's got these two numbers backwards. Okay, let me type in the answer. How do the slopes of the two lines compare? Okay, let's type it in. Lynn's first line shows a slope of 30 pages read per day. That is 10 pages per day less than the true line, which has a slope of 40 pages per day. That was her plan, 40 pages per day. Okay, good job, guys. Fill in your answers and make sure you agree with everything that I've written. If you don't agree or it don't make sense to you, listen to the videos again, send me an email, or tell me if I'm wrong.